Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Samantha Winona. This is Winona Reads. Today's video is going to be my, what month is it? April, my March wrap up. Today is Thursday, April 4th. Tomorrow is my mom's birthday, so happy early birthday. It is a crazy week this week, a crazy week. I have been doing so much like random stuff with the kids being home from school all week. It is currently spring break. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull up my Goodreads to see what I have read this week or month, whatever. Oy vey. There's just so much to do. We are in weddings coming up, so I'm working on like making alteration appointments, and I was in the process of trying to find summer/spring activities for my kids. My one son wants to play basketball. I'm trying to find something within his age group. I'm trying to sign the other one up for karate. My daughter does dance and she has a recital coming up. We have, you know, stuff for the weddings that we're in, and it just feels like it never stops. Like, I'm just tired. I'm tired. But we did book a couple of vacations. They feel so far away, but we booked them, so I am counting the days until then. But anyway, my March reads. Okay. Out of here. Okay. Let's try this again. My first book that I had finished in March was The Land of Milk and Honey by C.P. Pam Zhang. I gave it 3.5 stars. It was definitely different than what I had expected. At first, I got similar vibes to Natural Beauty in the sense of sort of that like dystopian, not even dystopian, it wasn't like end of the world, it was like kind of sci-fi, a little bit twisted, a little bit eerie. You know, she comes into this house and sort of falls for the chef's daughter, and there's like a power play between the daughter and the dad, and then how the lady intermingles with them. And then there was like, I don't know, there was just a lot that I didn't necessarily love. There was like constant talk about like strawberries and the color red, and it definitely had like a sexual undertone, but I just don't think I understood it, and therefore like it doesn't stick with me. Like I remember a little bit of the prose and the nice writing that it had, and like the food and how like the wealthy communities played into it, but I don't remember the ending actually, and it didn't hit as hard as I thought it was going to. I thought I was going to enjoy it a lot more. So yeah, 3.5 stars. After that, I had read White Nights by Fyodor Dostoevsky, and this was one that was highly praised by Jack Edwards. He had, I think, said like he read it, and then the next day on Amazon it was sold out, but I ended up picking it up on Amazon once it was restocked, the cover that I wanted anyway, and it was so good. It was a very short piece. There was a little bit of humor in it. It was about a relationship with this guy who doesn't befriend people, doesn't have a lot of women in his life, and so he befriends this woman or girl who is head over heels for someone else, and then she the whole time is talking about him. He's falling for her, and she's talking about this other guy, and then by the end of it she's like, you know what, I can see how much you care for me. Why don't we just try something new? And then lo and behold, the guy comes back into her life, and she's like, okay, yeah, bye, and like shoves him off to the side. And it was very like a piece of the time. Like I could picture the exact thing happening, and it was very picturesque. Like it played in my head like a movie, and I just really enjoyed it. I like his writing, and I want to give myself more time soon to read more, because I think there's so much like hidden humor in his writing style. I just love it. After that, I had listened to Ward D by Frida McFadden. I don't know if I said White Nights I gave 4 stars to, 4.5, Ward D I gave 3.5 stars to. I had rented it from the library. It was definitely entertaining. It just wasn't as believable. I think her stories are not meant to be believable. They are meant to be entertaining and captivating. There were definitely things that I didn't like, which is why I rated it lower, and things that were a little bit predictable, but at the same time, it's one of the books that you can't put down. So I do recommend her stuff. I still haven't read The Housemaid. I feel like everyone has read it, and I think there's like 3 now, so I do need to get to that. But it was just something that came up in my library, and I was like, you know what, her stuff is really like enticing. You kind of get addicted to it the second you start reading it. It's a fast page turner, so I definitely recommend it for like a beach read or just like a weekend, maybe like a readathon. Those are some good pieces. After that, I finished Fangirl by Tessa Bailey. This was, I don't think this is an ARC. I think it's out already. I want to say I got it as an ARC from NetGalley, but I don't think so. I think I got it from my library. I gave it 3.5 stars. This was a piece about a girl, I don't remember their names, but there was a girl who was a #1 fan of a golfer, and he was kind of spiraling mentally and just acting out of character and not caring about his career. And she had health issues, she had family issues. There were things about her career that she just needed money to all around fix all the problems that were going on in her life, and so she agreed to caddy with the person that she was a fan of, and obviously a romance sparks from there. There were a lot of scenes that I was not expecting. The chemistry was good, the storyline was good. It was a little too modern for me, I'm gonna say that and leave it at that. If you know, you know. Overall, it was good. I liked that she had the health issues, the insurance issues, the natural disaster issues. I liked that stuff more. It kind of reminded me of like a Catherine Center piece, even though it was only hinted on. It wasn't like fully enveloped like some of the other authors like Abby Jimenez and Catherine Center. But I thought this was a good one, and I'll still keep reading her stuff. After that, I had read Anita Shreve's The Pilot's Wife, and I gave that one 3 stars. That was for my March pick for an Irish setting. So the pilot's wife is home with her daughter. She gets somebody at her door saying that her husband was in an accident and his plane crashed with a bunch of people on it off the coast of Ireland, and he passes away, the crew passes away, the passengers pass away, and I don't think there were any survivors. And it's, you know, a story about grief, but it's also about how do you really know someone. And I don't want to give spoilers because it's basically the whole plot of the book, who her husband really is and the fact that she didn't know who he was. The one thing that I didn't like was it was a little bit predictable once you understood where it was going, which is fine. I feel like it's more maybe a character piece and less about the plot. The thing that I didn't like was the way that the wife or the widow like automatically had this relationship or flirtation with the person that told her that her husband passed away. Like, that did not sit well with me. It was almost immediate, and I'm like, I feel like it shouldn't be that easy. Like, you should be more grieving. And that mixed with the way that like her daughter aspect, like her daughter went and stayed with her grandmother, who the grandmother raised the mom, but I don't know. I wouldn't want time. I wouldn't want time away from my kids if my spouse had passed. Like, I would want to be with my kids every second, unless it was like legality stuff. Then I could see maybe, or like the details, how she kept that hidden from her daughter. But just the like laying in bed and actually fully grieving, and like she let her daughter do it in a different house away from her. Like, that didn't also sit well with me. So after that, I finished Tripping Arcadia by Kit Mayquest. I gave that one 3.5 stars as well. Kind of sat in 3.5, I guess, for the whole month. That was the book that my husband and my best friend picked out, and that was supposed to be like a gothic sort of Gatsby vibe with the, you know, difference between a wealthy family and the not wealthy person, and figuring out how to not be so involved in the family while working for them. I did enjoy it. It was something that I haven't read before. What did I like? I liked the plot. I thought the plot was very interesting, actually. And I also expected it to go in a different direction, and the way that it ended, I was actually pleasantly surprised that it wasn't as predictable as I thought it would be. There were some things that I didn't like. I'm not gonna lie though, I don't really remember them. So I would say maybe closer to a 4 than a 3.5. I did really enjoy it. I think there were a little bit of twists, especially at the end. I think the family dynamic was interesting. I think the drug aspect was definitely interesting. The thing that I didn't like was the doctor aspect, like her mentor, and kind of like, not to go into like spoilers, but like the blame placed on that, like that just felt very easy. But everything else was so interesting and kept me interested until the end. So I do highly recommend that, actually. After that, I had read Megan Fox's poetry book, Pretty Boys Are Poisonous, and I did not rate that because I didn't know how to. It was different. I think it is something kind of similar to my poetry collections in the sense of it being a release. Like, it feels good to have potentially other people relate to it, but it's more for ourselves being able to have struggles and release them in word format, if that makes sense. And I'm pretty sure she had, I don't know if it was Call Her Daddy or one of the interviews that she had said, but she did say it was like, it was therapeutic in a sense. It was writing out things that happened, and then if somebody relates to it or if somebody understands her better, then that's a great positive interaction with it. And that's how I kind of felt about writing mine. So I clicked with it in a way, but at the same time it was very different than what I thought it was going to be. And I just don't know how to rate that. I don't know. After that, I finished Women of Good Fortune by Sophie Wan. That was our book club pick for March. Speaking of which, we are not going to be doing a April pick for book club. I haven't had that much engagement lately, so I'm putting it off until the summer, hoping to have some more people during the summer, maybe pick some beach reads and, you know, have time to read on vacation and do discussions then. So I'm going to put it off until like June, because just, I don't know what it is. But we did read Women of Good Fortune. This was, again, different than what I have read previously. Some aspects reminded me of Portrait of a Thief in the sense of an Asian community and the different culture being brought into it, like seeing how the wedding wasn't solely about them. It was about like the groom's mother picking stuff out, and then like the bride's family like desperately needing their money, and her kind of feeling that pressure of like, okay, I can't mess up because my family's depending on this money even though I'm not. And I liked the connections better as they progressed. There was like more open communication in relationships and a lot more growth in the characters, and I liked that aspect of it more than the heist aspect of it. So for that, I definitely do recommend. I did like that. The heist just kind of got lost in all of the character development, I feel like. So it was there, it just wasn't like an even balance, if that makes sense. After that, I read Kate Quinn's The Clinic. Did I have that on? I think I had it. Oh, I had the copy from the library, and then I also had the audiobook from the library. sorry to whoever needed to borrow that, but I had both copies. But I flew through it. I went to the bookstore and sat with a drink, and I flew through like half of the book, and then I came home and finished the rest. It was so addicting. It was so good. I cannot recommend it enough. Lexi actually said that she read it in March as well, and she raves about it too. I don't want to give too much spoilers or too much detail. I don't want to spoil anything, but the gist of it is a detective thinks that her sister wasn't a suicide in the clinic. It's rehab for well-known people or celebrities, and she doesn't believe that it was a suicide. She thinks that it was a murder, and so she goes in. She does have an addiction issue as well, but she goes in under the pretenses, kind of tricking herself into thinking it's for her sister, and then ends up sort of getting mixed up in this whole crazy thing. There is a twist at the end. I wouldn't say I wasn't expecting it. I think closer towards like midway I was kind of thinking, but I didn't know who it would be. And yeah, it wraps up nicely at the end. So I think like overall it was a very, very good book, and it was such a good like thriller. I feel like I haven't had a good one like that. Like, I don't know. And then the last one for March was The In-Between: Unforgettable Encounters During Life's Final Moments by Hadley Vlahos. My sister-in-law recommended this. It is about a hospice nurse. It covers, I think, maybe 12 different people that she took care of in their hospice end of life stage moments. The beginning started off very easy, and then as it progressed and the different stories, definitely brought tears to my eyes at times. There are a couple of stories that I still think about, and I read it like a week ago, but I gave that one 5 stars. It is heartbreaking, but I think also very spiritual in a way. For such a dark, introspective topic, it's very light, but it still sets an impact, and it's something that I cannot recommend enough. I think it gives you a different outlook on things, and you know, she did make a comment towards the end saying, you know, a lot of people don't believe in like afterlife idealisms, and not that it's her way of saying like there is an afterlife, but she just has like this approach to it that there is something else from what she's experienced and what she's seen. There are different connections and different things that happen at the life stages at the end, and she had said something like, if it happens once or twice, it's a coincidence, but when it happens like hundreds of times, it's not a coincidence. There's something else there. So it's not like she's saying there's an afterlife where everybody meets up at the end, but there is this tether between something. So I thought it was interesting. I do recommend that, and I am glad that my sister-in-law had told me about that. And that is my March wrap up. I tried to be fast. I hope it worked. Let me know in the comments what you have read in March and what you are looking forward to read in April. And I will see you soon. Happy reading. Bye.